Have you ever walked away from a conversation feeling like you didn't really say what you meant? Maybe you catch yourself repeating phrases that don't sound like you, or using words just to fill silence, leaving real feelings unspoken. In a world full of empty talk, learning to truly express yourself can feel rare, almost rebellious. Yet, speaking truthfully isn't just about honesty. It's about letting who you are come through in every word and with every person. Imagine what would change if your everyday words carried more meaning, if your voice sounded like you, really you, not just someone playing their part. What if real connection depended simply on daring to speak with authenticity, even in the smallest moments? This is where true communication begins. Are you ready to change the way you talk and the way you live? Speaking truthfully isn't just an ideal, it's a daily challenge. In today's fast-moving world, conversations often slide into autopilot. We text, call, and comment, but sometimes our true thoughts and feelings stay hidden behind phrases we've learned to use. Instead of real talk, there's surface chatter, automatic greetings, polite answers, jokes that mask discomfort, and nods that mean nothing at all. Why does truly speaking from the heart feel so hard? From childhood, many of us are taught the rules of talking, what's polite, what's safe, what to keep inside. We learn which words give approval and which risk conflict. Over time, these patterns become habits. We speak like everyone else, fit in, and avoid showing too much. It's a clever survival tactic, but it can also silence our uniqueness. When words lose meaning, so does connection. We drift through relationships and situations, feeling half understood, wondering why even simple conversations leave us empty. Truthful speech isn't just about telling facts or avoiding lies. It's about letting your real self show in moments both big and small. It happens in honest apologies, in sharing a bold idea, in revealing when you're hurt or excited or unsure. Authentic words build trust, reduce misunderstandings, and create stronger bonds. But this kind of communication isn't automatic. It takes curiosity, courage, and self-awareness. Think about the last time someone really listened to you. Maybe they asked a question that surprised you, or gave space for you to finish your thought, or reflected your feelings back without judgment. Those moments stand out because they feel alive. There's a flow of energy, a sense of being seen. Here, words matter. When you respond in kind, speaking honestly, even imperfectly, your relationships change. Suspicion drops, empathy grows. Even short exchanges, like a comment at work or a chat with a friend, feel more fulfilling. At the core of this approach is the idea that you don't have to perform or hide. Instead, communication can become a rich exchange of meaning and feeling, a chance for both people to grow. The process begins with noticing your own speaking habits. Do you use words to avoid discomfort or to get closer? Do you say what's true for you, even when it feels risky? This text is your invitation to make talking less routine and more real. In the chapters ahead, you'll learn how to recognize verbal habits that block genuine connection and how to shift toward more meaningful speech. You'll see how everyday language can be transformed, from empty noise to something creative, even poetic. Through stories, examples, and practical exercises, you'll discover new ways of expressing yourself and understanding others. The goal isn't perfection. It's feeling alive and connected every day, simply by speaking from your truth. Understood. Here is a continuous, practical, and engaging text in English on the theme, How to Speak Truthfully in Everyday Life, focusing on relatable situations, applicable advice, and simple language, using around 14,000 characters, with spaces. No chapter breaks, just an immersive flow from start to finish. Most people crave real connection, but few know how to consistently spark it with their words. The challenge isn't finding something to say, but daring to actually say what matters. In daily routines, at home, at work, in quick chats, we slip easily into roles and phrases that keep things safe but shallow. How are you? Good. And you? Not much, just busy. These exchanges roll by like background noise, polite, reliable, and unlikely to produce any real surprise or risk. It may feel easier this way, safer to hide behind what's expected than to let anyone see what's true underneath. We all do it, biting back complaints in meetings, glossing over our real mood with a partner or parent, offering jokes to dodge difficult topics with friends. Maybe you avoid disagreement to keep the peace, or dress your real feelings in stories that are easier for others to accept. Sometimes you disguise being hurt as being tired, or curiosity as politeness, or frustration as indifference. These habits can be subtle, and for many, they seem necessary for getting through the day. Who wants to risk awkward silence, conflict, or rejection with every honest word? But this instinct to play it safe comes at a cost. Over time, the gap between what you say and what you mean quietly widens. Your words no longer feel like your voice. They become echoes of everyone else's expectations, meeting the world on its terms instead of your own. Even small, ordinary conversations can leave you feeling a little lonelier than before, like nobody really knows you, and maybe you don't quite know yourself either. Every time you say, "it's fine" when it isn't, or nod along to things you disagree with, you add another invisible brick to a wall between your inner life and the outer world. True, not every situation calls for radical honesty. Life would be exhausting, sometimes destructive, if you gave unfiltered opinions and feelings every minute. Social rituals help us function and coexist. White lies smooth our way through crowded realities. The art isn't in dropping all filters, but in opening meaningful windows to your real self, especially in moments when it would matter most. A genuine word, even simple. I actually feel overwhelmed today. I'm worried about that decision. I wish we could talk more openly. Can shift a whole relationship, and often your own sense of relief. Speaking truthfully is at first uncomfortable. You might stutter, second guess, or even wish you'd stayed silent. The first time you try to say what you really mean, you may feel exposed or awkward, flooded by self-doubt. What will they think? What if they laugh or get angry or withdraw? This anxiety is normal. It's the echo of a lifetime spent learning to protect yourself with words that please more than express. But there's a quiet reward if you persist. Start small. Instead of hiding your mood at dinner, you might say, "I had a tough day, but I want to enjoy this meal with you." Rather than nodding in a meeting, you could admit, "I have a different view, if it's okay to share." Even in text messages, trading autopilot replies for the truth. "Honestly, I'm too tired this week to meet, but let's plan for another time," can bring unexpected warmth and empathy. Not everyone will meet you with kindness, and you may disappoint those who prefer the old routine. But with every honest exchange, you invite others to do the same. Sometimes, you even liberate them. Give silent permission to abandon their own script and try something real. It's not just about what you say, but how. Tone, body language, pauses, these all color the truth behind your words. Real speech has rhythm and energy. It's alive and can adjust in the moment. When you speak from the heart, sentences break from monotony. There's a pulse, a movement, a willingness to change direction. You listen, respond, and let your words reflect not only facts, but also feelings and intentions. In this way, honest communication is less like a presentation and more like a dance, sometimes clumsy, sometimes exhilarating, always in motion. You might notice resistance from others, but also from yourself. Speaking out might challenge work hierarchies or unsettle friendships built on old agreements. People may test your new openness, searching for insincerity or reacting defensively. Sometimes you'll misstep. A confession lands poorly. A comment is misunderstood. This is part of learning, finding your boundaries while standing in your truth. It's not about being raw or forceful, but clear and accountable for the effects your words have. Another barrier is habit, the internal scripts that run automatically. To break these, start by listening to yourself more closely. Notice the phrases you reach for in stress or conflict. Are you saying what you believe or what's easiest? Do you change your tune for each audience? Try pausing before you reply, asking yourself, what do I really want to say here? Give yourself a few seconds. Often, a deeper answer waits quietly beyond the reflex. The pause is where honesty has room to emerge. Honest speaking doesn't mean perfect articulation or dramatic gestures. Sometimes the truest words are quiet, unfinished, even clumsy. I don't know why, but this makes me sad. I'd like to understand, but I'm confused. I could use help. Vulnerability is not weakness here. It is the engine of real connection. When people hear you claim what's real for you, they're often inspired to bring more of themselves too. The effects ripple out. At work, open communication fosters trust. Instead of guessing at motives or hiding mistakes, teams problem solve together. In families, naming feelings and requests leads to less resentment and more mutual care. With friends or partners, truthful talk builds spaces where laughter, disagreement, and forgiveness coexist. You're no longer acting a part. You're living it and allowing others to do the same. Of course, honesty must be paired with kindness and context. Not every truth needs to be shared, and not every moment is right. The goal isn't to impose your insights or dump every feeling onto unsuspecting listeners, but to make space for realness when it matters most. If you're angry, take a breath and choose words that open conversation, not shut it down. If you're nervous, say so. If you need time, it's okay to ask for it. Sometimes writing your thoughts before speaking can help you sort through the jumble and offer clarity. Remember, you cannot control how anyone will respond to your honesty. Some will thank you for it. Others will shy away. A few may use it against you. But what you gain, a life less filtered by fear or habit, and more grounded in trust and meaning, is worth the risk. Over time, speaking truthfully becomes less of a leap and more of a habit. The gap between your inside and outside shrinks. You feel more like yourself, wherever you are. Words become tools, not just for surviving the day, but for awakening it. You don't have to change overnight. Every conversation is a chance to practice, a moment at the store, a check-in with a colleague, a heart-to-heart with a loved one. Each honest word, no matter how small, chips away old routines and opens the door for new stories to take root. The reward isn't perfection or total agreement, but aliveness, a sense that for once who you are and what you say match. In a world drowning in talk, dare to speak less, but speak real. Start where you are. Make room for pauses, for questions, for the mess of real emotion. Test your words by the difference they make in you and the connections you form. Bit by bit, you'll discover the quiet courage to speak truthfully and the unexpected freedom of a voice that finally sounds like you. When you begin to speak truthfully in your daily interactions, the benefits might surprise you. The first and most immediate reward is a deeper sense of connection with others and with yourself. Honest words cut through routine and reach what is real between people, creating trust where there once was just habit. You notice that relationships shift. Conversations feel less like performances and more like genuine exchanges. People who matter most to you respond with their own openness, understanding, and care. Even disagreements become easier to navigate, since the truth, once named, is less threatening than the tension of unspoken worries. Emotionally, the effects are just as powerful. Bottling up your real feelings is exhausting. When you let yourself speak openly, admitting when something hurts, saying what excites you, or explaining a need that's been ignored, you release built-up stress. That mental energy, once spent holding everything in, becomes available again for creativity, problem-solving, and enjoying life. Your confidence grows, not because you're right all the time, but because you trust yourself to show up authentically. You feel lighter. Over time, anxiety and self-doubt shrink, replaced by a quiet pride in your own courage. Honest communication also makes life simpler. Rather than second-guessing what others meant or rehearsing your words to avoid conflict, you're able to engage more directly and clearly. Misunderstandings decrease. When you need help, you ask. When boundaries are required, you set them. Small frustrations don't grow into major blow-ups because you address them before they pile up. There is less drama, fewer regrets, and much less fear about being misunderstood. On a practical level, truthfulness leads to better decisions. Whether at work or at home, people are more willing to share information, take responsibility, and offer support. You avoid draining situations where you're pretending or guessing, and you can focus on what actually matters. In groups, honest voices help build cultures of respect and safety, where new ideas can flourish and mistakes can be fixed instead of hidden. But perhaps the greatest benefit comes inside. Each time you choose real speech over empty noise, you affirm your own worth. Living this way grounds you. It weaves authenticity into your routine, so you no longer have to wear a mask from morning to night. The pressure to be someone you're not dissolves. You begin to attract people, experiences, and opportunities that align with your true self, not just the version of you others expect. It doesn't happen all at once, and it isn't always easy, but choosing honesty every day transforms your life in lasting ways. You find a new kind of freedom and calm, a deep, quiet happiness that comes from no longer hiding. That, in itself, is an extraordinary reward. At the end of the day, speaking truthfully is not just a skill, it's a choice. It's a way of living that puts real connection above comfort and meaningful expression above routine. The world around us will always offer shortcuts, scripts for social survival, quick answers that keep things easy, silence that avoids vulnerability. But when you choose honesty, you choose something deeper for yourself and for those around you. The benefits don't come without effort. You will face awkward moments, misunderstandings, even occasional pushback. Still, every time you risk showing your real thoughts and feelings, you create possibilities that would never exist otherwise. If you look back on your most valued relationships or the moments you truly grew as a person, almost all of them involved truth. Sometimes it came through a bold admission, sometimes through gentle honesty, sometimes through just letting your guard down long enough to let someone see who you really are. These flashes of authenticity mark us. They change what follows, opening space for trust, care, and creativity. Making truth a habit is not about forcing yourself to be blunt or fearless all the time. It's about tuning in, pausing before you speak, asking yourself what matters most, embracing the risk of being real. Sometimes that means asking hard questions, naming what's uncomfortable, or simply saying you don't know. Sometimes it means silence when words can't carry depth. The real goal is not to be perfect, but to live in greater harmony with what you feel and believe, both speaking and listening with intention and care. As you move forward, notice which conversations lift you up and which leave you feeling empty. Welcome the discomfort of honesty as a sign of growth, not danger. You will find that the more you practice truthful speech, the more you inspire it in others. People respond to depth even if it takes them time to adjust. Little by little, everyday life becomes less staged and more vivid. You feel more present, more understood, more at peace. In the end, truth is less about words and more about presence, the courage to show up as yourself, and the kindness to let others do the same. If you can speak honestly in ordinary daily moments, you discover that meaning and connection are always close at hand. Your voice gains clarity, your relationships gain depth, and you, finally, become someone whose life is shaped not by fear or habit, but by real, living truth.